Hey guys, it's me, Mr. 250, and welcome back to Higurashi When They Cry. Hold on, let me see the subtitle of this one really quick. Sumi Horobashi, Chapter 6. So, as a bit of a recap, because it has been a little bit since we last finished off, we got to see the story perspective from Shion, and, saw that she's actually crazy, murdered a lot of people, and got a little bit of insight onto an earlier ending. And so we're moving on to the sixth one now, and of course I don't really know what's going to happen, so I guess I'll find out right now. Atonement Chapter. How is your reasoning towards the truth coming along? The next tragedy is ready for you. Enjoy. This is a humorous story with a tragic struggle at the end. The difficulty is 0. You can just enjoy the clowns milling about. That sounds easy enough for me. Get these kids out of here. Oh, you got shortcuts. Okay. I'm going to remember exactly 0 of that in about -2 seconds. The first time I would try harder to avoid the inevitable tragedy. The second time I would be disgusted with the inevitable tragedy. The third time my disgust would turn to anguish. Okay, so I missed that last sentence. But you can pause if you want to see that. I should mention, I've spent the past 3 weeks to almost a month being quite sick, and only in the past day or 2 have I really been able to get better, so apologies for the long breaks. It obviously wasn't my intention, but being both sick and busy doesn't leave a whole lot of time for recording. Also, my headphones are not connecting properly. And the other thing I should add is, because somebody was asking about it, I purposefully waited to start this until after I got finished with Phoenix Wright, because since I'm not doing videos as often, excuse the Windows noises, gotta plug in my headphones, since I'm not doing the videos as often, I'd like to narrow my focus down a little bit so that we don't get stuck as long on a series. So let's start. The chorus of the Higurashi had replaced that of the cicadas. The cries came from a distance, echoed loudly, and then faded away. They sounded so weak and fragile. Rina's voice was just like the cries of the Higurashi. She'd say something, but the words would quickly fade away. She sounded so fragile that it made me worry she might vanish into thin air along with her words. But nobody's pressuring her to continue. Mion dusted off the hood of an abandoned car and sat down on it as if to show how relaxed she was. She actually did look very relaxed, as if she came here to enjoy the cool breeze of the evening or something. Satoko followed Mion's example and sat down as well. She didn't look nearly as relaxed, however. I thought about following suit, but it felt rude to look away from Rina even for the short time it would take to look for a place to sit down. So I decided to remain standing. Rika-chan didn't sit down either. But she wasn't looking at Rina. Everyone else was looking at Rina, but Rika-chan was looking at the red sky. Rika-chan's expression was hard to describe. She looked pale and blank at the same time, as if all of her emotions were gone. Rina wore the same kind of expression. She kept trying to say something, but it seemed like the words were stuck in her throat. She noticed Rika-chan was looking at the sky, so she decided to look that way as well. Mion did the same. So did I. Satoko looked that way too. And with that, there was silence. It was like we were in a concert hall, filled with the chorus of the Higurashi. A concert hall with the highest roof in the world. A refreshingly cool breeze tickled our sweaty bodies. I could almost make myself believe we came here to enjoy the breeze and the sunset. I could only wish that was what we came here before. I was thinking this was going to be a little bit more sinister than it first came out to be. The shadows of the birds flying across the sky soured the feelings of our quiet concert. They reminded us that time hadn't stopped. Nobody wanted to pressure Rena. We didn't want time to pressure her either. We wanted to keep the cool red sky as long as we could, so Rena could calm down and talk. Right then, I heard a sound and it brought us all back to reality. The hood Mion was sitting on had made a noise when she moved across her legs. I don't know whether Mion made the noise on purpose or not, but it reminded us that time had been passing by. The noise took our attention away from the sky and back to the ground. Such a tasteless noise seemed to have urged Rena to speak. Rena heaved a small sigh, nodded as if she understood something, and looked at us like she always did.
話す前に一個だけ言いたいことがあるの。
Mouth movements? I don't know what this is. I installed the PS3 patch again, though I should mention that this was the last game the PS3 patch is for, so any future chapters, which I think there are more if I'm not mistaken, are not covered by the patcher that I currently have access to. Was not expecting moving mouths though, or the artwork to be different, to be honest. Let me take a look. Okay, that's the one I was expecting, not console. She was probably saying it to everyone, but since I'm standing in the middle with her looking at me, I nodded to her to represent our agreement.
レナは正しい努力をしたと思ってる。
So that's interesting. The console version, I guess, the PS, or is it the PS3? I don't know what console means exactly. But the older version has mouth movements. Her voice wasn't hoarse anymore. She sounded just like she always did.
人って幸せになるためにどれだけの努力が許されるのかな。
We're sure dancing around this whole whatever this is happening. Sounds like murder, but could be anything. It sounded like a question, but nobody answered.
だからね、私みーちゃんの部活って好きなの。ほら、友情のためには何でもしようって考え方、そういうのって素敵だと思う。だって世の中が綺麗事で縛られてて、やっていい努力がわずかだけに決められていたら、幸せじゃない人たちはますます幸せを勝ち取れなくなっちゃうじゃない。不幸ってね、連鎖するものだと思うの。一度続き始めるとなかなか抜け出せない。
Maybe it's been a while since I've heard Rena's voice, but it sounds a little different.
そこから抜け出すには運とか人の助けとか、そういう
guess,
他力本願なものだけじゃ到底足りない。
I guess last chapter we didn't hear her voice almost at all, so it could just be the same voice.
自分でももっともっと努力しないといけないと思うの。それも本当の本当に精一杯。そこまでしてやっとつかめるのが幸せってものじゃないかなって。
Rena stopped talking, looked up, heaved a sigh, and opened her mouth again.
でもだからってみんなにもそれを受け入れてもらおうなんて甘えるつもりもないかな。だって本当に汚らしいもの。みんなだってついさっき呆然としたでしょ。
And I sure hope we don't learn whatever this was.
それはつまりそういうことだよね。
I've never seen her smile so self-derisively like this. That smile looked unbelievably painful. I could really feel how huge the distance between us was. There's nothing physically there, but I felt as though she's talking to us through iron bars or a chain link fence. That's how great the distance between us was.
でもそれでもいいよ。仕方ないもんね。そういう風にできてる世の中だもん。多分私が逆の立場でいられたなら同じように唖然として無責任で無慈悲な同情を浮かべていたに違いないもの。
She probably said that to hit it back at us. We're just putting on a mask of sympathy, enjoying the spectacle of a clown on a stage. That's why she said that. She probably expected us to say something in return. But none of us knew what to say. Rina looked disappointed for a moment, then turned and clambered on top of an abandoned car. Then she spread her arms out and gave a little twirl, letting her skirt billow up before she grabbed both ends and gave us a graceful curtsy.
じゃあ始めるよ。竜宮レナの一世一代の頑張り物語を。
There was no curtain or spotlight. She was atop an abandoned car amidst the trash piles, a stage specially made for her. We tried not to miss a word of what she was about to say. We believed that was the least we could do to not hurt her feelings. The police are on their way, Rena. It's time to give up your evil deeds. We have you surrounded. There was a lot going on there towards the end. That whole, gunfight and sword thing was kind of cool looking. But, didn't get a whole lot more from that. Let's say it's a winter month like December right now. What would you do if, all of a sudden, you had a week of hot and humid days with crying cicadas? Would you still wear your coat and scarf? Absolutely not, right? Even though it's still June, it's already summer to us since we've been having hot days for so long. So it's totally okay to do this kind of club activity in June. At my school, everyone usually does what they want in PE class, but today would be an exception. All my classmates were gathered in the schoolyard. Mion looked over everybody gathered there, then spoke up loudly. they all raise the water guns in their hands. It's okay to use water guns in June because it's been so hot and humid. All my classmates are joining in, so it's gonna be a big water gun battle. I'm so excited.
さすがクラス全員で部活だとなんだか盛り上がりますわね。
I wonder if water gun battle is some sort of premonition or foreshadowing of a gun battle happening later on, like we saw in the intro there.
そうだね。全員で表ではしゃぐのってなんだか楽しそうかな。
Yeah, the voice does sound different, doesn't it? The Rina voice. But maybe it's just the intonation, the inflection of the voice rather than being a different voice actor or anything. I don't know.
みんなは楽しいですが、僕たちは例によって負けられないのです。
Sorry for harping on it so much, it's just kind of stuck in my head here.
ま、そういうこったな。およそ勝負と名の付く以上、俺たち部活メンバーは常にリスクを背負ってるからな。
まあそういうこと。部活メンバー諸君は部活に負けたりしちゃうと大変なペナルティーが待ってるからね。せいぜいしっかり戦うこと。
よしよし、生徒諸君、武器点検は十分か。弾倉は満タンか。
I'm gonna have like some illegal water gun mods on these guns, I can tell already.
任せてくださいよ、前原さん。
Somebody's gonna have some like battery powered water pump in there so they just don't have to pump.
銃撃戦は僕たちの最も得意とするところですからね。
富田たちはよく水鉄砲で遊んでますから、かなり強敵かもなのですよ。
今日の僕たちは少し違います。
Tomita-kun and Okamura-kun smiled confidently, holding their guns in a practiced manner. Their skills must give them confidence. They even look different.
ミオンは言うに及ばず、サトコもリカちゃんもかなり強敵になりそうだぜ。
What if those two guys are the real main characters of the story? They're in it so much. Like every story seems to include them, it seems.
レナはどうだ。チョコマが動いていの一番にやられないように頑張れよ。そういえば最近のレナは罰ゲーム常連だな。
はあ、最近不得意なゲームが多かったから。でもケイチ君も最近私と同じで罰ゲームが多いと思うかな。
罰ゲームの格好のまま帰宅して、さあ脱ごうとしたところでお袋に見つかった俺の哀愁などわかるものか。
This is a new track too, I think. I don't remember this one.
私だって先週のはひどいよ。普通の女の子ならお嫁に行けなくなっちゃうよ。
Satoko laughed at us loudly while we were shuddering at the memory of the cruel punishments we suffered in the past.
覇気や運気にも偏りというのがございましてよ。その意味から言えば、ここしばらくのレナさんやケイチさんはいわゆる負け組というやつでございますわね。
確かに負け癖ってやつはあるね。闘志ってやつは負けが続くとくじけてくる。絶対勝てるという信念が砕けると全く同じことをやっても裏目に出るもんだからね。
てめえら、たまったま俺とレナがちょいと罰ゲームを哀れに思って引き受けてやってたのを感謝もせずにその言い草か。
New music tracks are different.
あら、そうでしたの。それは感謝の気持ちが足りず申し訳ないことでございましたよ。
They're very fitting though.
うわー、サトコてめえ、そのセリフは俺の怒りに火をつけたぜ。後悔させてやる。
その意気だよ、ケイちゃん。まあせいぜいあがいておじさんを楽しませてちょうだいよね。レンでも頑張って。あ あうあう言ってる間にクラスで一番最初に脱落したらでもその可能性も高いかな。
一番最初に脱落するのがレナさんだと思いましたよ。どんな目に遭うか今からお覚悟なさいませな。ひどいよ、みーちゃんもさとこちゃんも。レナもケイイチもファイトおーですよ。
Right. Mion and Satoko laughed at us as loud as they could, then moved on to tease their next target. Left alone, all I could do was stomp on the floor in anger.
さあ絶対負けねえ。あそこまで言われたら負けられねえぜ。
そうだね。あそこまで言われると悔しいよね。
っていうか悔しいどころじゃねえぞ。プライドさ。
みーちゃんの言うように負け癖ってやっぱりあるかもしれないよね。だから今日は絶対に勝ってみんなを見返してやろう。
Rena's eyes look different. She's usually a funny and weird person, but I know she has the determination to do what she needs to. When Rena looks like this, she can be a tough opponent.
今日は私も部活の規則にのっとり手加減なしでいく。
おお、なんだかかっこいいこと言うじゃねえの。まるで普段の自分はわざと手を抜いているって言わんばかりだぜ。
Rena smiled. Or maybe you could have called it a wicked grin. She was serious. She was serious about what she'd said. I could tell that from her expression alone. Among all the club members, Rena is easily the most sensible one. The rule of our club is that we can do anything in order to win, but she's the only one who has the moral qualms in doing it. That's why we really have a hard time against her, except for when she snaps. It's rare to hear her say that she won't go easy.
ちくしょう、そんな笑い方されたら俺も超本気で行くしかねえじゃねえかよ。
いつも本気で戦うのが部活だけど、それでもやっぱりそれ以上に本気じゃないといけない時ってあるよね。今日は多分それだね。
だな。
We pounded our fists together. Usually when we really don't want to lose the game, one asks the other to work together, but Rena didn't ask this time. Which meant that she was going to try to defeat everyone by herself. No, not try. She was going to do it by herself. Rena looked really cool at that moment, but I wasn't scared. If she was seriously going to do it, I'd have to be serious and do it too. My fighting spirit had been dented after many losses, but it had begun to burn hot once more.
ケイチ君もなかなかいい顔してるね。怖いな。全員と一人で戦っても勝てるつもりでいる顔だね。
レナだってそのつもりだろう。
じゃあぶつかるのは最後だね。
互いにクラス全員を全滅させたら最後にはそうなるな。
最後の戦いの時、そこにいるのがケイチ君なのを期待してるね。
おう。
We pounded our fists together again.
当選規定はちゃんと覚えてるね。被弾時の申請だけは正直にね。被弾した人は撃っちゃダメだよ。仮に当てても無効ね。
ミオン、被弾の定義を再確認したいぜ。
Uh-oh, this is where we find a way to cheat the rules.
水鉄砲で撃たれたら被弾。ひねくれたケイちゃんのためにさらに補足するなら、水鉄砲というこの容器から出た水が最初、つまり水鉄砲を経由した水をバケツに溜めてぶっかけても無効ってわけ。
直接攻撃以外は有効じゃないってことだね。さとこちゃんの脅威が少し薄らいだかな。トラップにもいろいろございましたよ。レナさんなんか一番最初に餌食にして差し上げましたよ。 不足だね。なんですって？
レナが売り子とかとはね。こりゃ面白くなりそうだよ。ね、ケイちゃん。
大して面白くねえと思うぞ。俺かレナかどっちにやられたいかを選ばされるだけなんだからな。
ケイイチもやる気満々なのです。
Mion seemed to sense the fighting spirit in me and Rena. I could tell that she's as serious as we are, just from the way she looks.
よっしゃ、いい面構えだよ、気に入った。じゃあ始めるよ。全員3回くじで決められた場所に移動してね。
Everyone had to draw lots to pick a place to start the game from. It wouldn't be fun if everyone was close together at the beginning of the game. By the way, my starting position was behind the school building. When I drew the starting position, I thought about hiding until there were only a few people left like I did in our last game of tag. But a defensive tactic like that wasn't interesting to me anymore. I hadn't been this excited in a long time. My legs were shaking with the excitement. It was my first time experiencing that kind of feeling. I could hear Mion's countdown from some distance away.
3、2、1。
A single shot of a toy pistol echoed. With that sound, I was already running around the building. There had to be some underclassmen nearby. I'd usually assume that somebody else would take care of them, but this time was different. Whoa, blurry. It's back to Keiichi making weird sounds. They stood frozen in fear as I ran towards them screaming at the top of my voice. They took a moment to quickly decide whether to fight or to run away, and in that moment I shot one after the other.
悪いな、俺の隣が当たった時点で運がなかったと思ってくれ。
I felt bad for them because they lost the game so quickly, so I rubbed their heads to cheer them up, and then took their water guns. Yes, that was the key factor in this game. You can't put very much water in a water gun. With 10 people around you in a gun battle, the water would be gone in a minute. I abandoned the gun I used to shoot them, held one of their guns in each hand and scoped out the schoolyard. Just like I expected, there was an intense battle happening there. In the short time it took me to take care of the area behind the school building, it seems like most of my classmates were already shot. I wasn't surprised though. I kind of knew it happened. You need to have a high skill to fight in the open schoolyard, especially when most of the club members were there. It must have been like a battle of elephants and ants. I don't know why these other kids even play with us anymore if they know they're gonna lose. Mion was holding a different water gun from the one she had when the game started. She was now holding one that looked like a huge machine gun. Its range capability, its pump action shooting, and the amount of water it can hold were way beyond comparison. There were no restrictions on what kind of water guns we could use today. As long as it's a water gun, we were allowed to use any kind. Most of us have a normal pistol-style water gun from a local toy store or something similar. I would have brought a bigger one like Mion's if they had one, but they weren't in stock, and I'd have to order it in. In other words, Mion ordered hers a long time ago just for today. She's always well prepared when it comes to winning. She must have thought that we wouldn't allow her to use the big water gun if she showed it off before the game started, so she must have hidden it somewhere. It looks like most of her classmates were shot right after the game started. Only a few were still alive, trying to survive as long as they could by using the heavy construction equipment as a shield. Mion mercilessly shot at them from various angles to make them come out from behind the shield. Tomita-kun and Okamura-kun were trying their best to resist her attack from behind their shield. It looked like they had no chance against her, but that actually wasn't true. After all, the two of them were only still alive because of all their experience in water gun battles. They survived the first few minutes of her assault, even though 99% of their classmates didn't, and they were still surviving at that very moment. Mion, however, is also a battle-hardened soldier. She used the advantage of her big water tank, and gradually but certainly drove them into a corner. It was only a matter of time until she broke them down. Why don't we get like a shield of some sort? They tried to hold out against her, but all they could do for now was to keep running behind cover as Mion strafed closer and closer to them. They wanted to use their 2-against-1 advantage, but it seemed like they wouldn't even get that chance. If they tried attacking recklessly, one of them might get shot, and then the other would have no chance of winning. So they grew more cautious, placing their bets on their final chance, but that caused their offense to wane. Whoa. Of course, Mion saw through their plan. She was purposely provoking them so that they'd lose their patience and start attacking her recklessly. Mion circled around the construction equipment, and now she was standing with her back towards me. If I went up against her machine gun fair and square, I wouldn't stand a chance. So, attacking from behind would be the only way for me to defeat her. Even though she was in a defenseless position, there was some distance between us. I was still too far away. But it would still be better to attack her now than to take her head on. Don't hesitate, Keiichi. You won't have this chance again. I stepped out from my hiding place and ran as fast as I could towards her, with 2 water guns in my hands. Instead of approaching slowly and silently, I screamed at the top of my lungs. A very good definition of what he just said. Mion seemed a little shocked by my surprise attack, but she immediately pulled herself together. She knew the advantages of her weapon. But she didn't shoot me just yet. She held back, luring me closer. Mion was well aware of how much water she had left. If she had the same kind of water gun as me, we would have had the same range capability. So it would have been down to our technique to decide the winner. If she was fighting against one of her underclassmen, she could have defeated them easily. Mion immediately calculated her chance of winning against me, and figured out that her only chance was to use the advantage of her water gun. She saw the eye of the tiger in me, and recalculated her chances of winning in a split second. Really, I can admire how fast she does those things. I ran at top speed to shorten the distance between us. Our strength should have been equal. I had 2 water guns with full tanks, and she had a machine gun with a half-empty tank. We both waited for the perfect moment.
今日のケイちゃんの気迫には敬意を表するよ。今日のあんたには正面からぶつかり合って互角以上の勝率を弾き出せる自信がない。
残念だぜミオン。勝率の弾き方も鈍ったな。今日の俺に正面からぶつかり合ったら互角への負けだ。
The moment we step within range, Mion and I pulled our triggers at the same time. Mion set her sights squarely on me, while I was trying to shoot and run at the same time. Her shot would obviously be more accurate than mine. My shot of water flew towards nowhere. Mion didn't even need to duck. But Mion's shot made a beautiful arc straight towards my chest. I could see the line of water coming straight at me, but I was too unstable to dodge. Mion had no doubt that she got me.
気合だけではどうにもならない 現実がこれだったね。やっぱりケイちゃんは最初に脱落だ。
やっぱり残念だぜミオン。今日のミオンのコンピュータは一手読みが足りないぜ。
ほざくな。その体勢からかわす術はない。
Sure, talking a lot for this water being in midair.
水の弾丸で撃ち抜かれろ。そしてどうして私の背後を沈黙して奪わず叫びながら襲う具を犯したかを呪うがいいよ。
You're really disappointing me today, Mion. You could have figured it out if you'd spent just one more second to think. You could have figured out the reason why I didn't creep up on you, but screamed as loud as I could instead. Mion noticed my surprise attack and turned to face me. In other words, she turned her back on the opponents she was fighting earlier. These opponents heard my scream and saw that she had turned her back on them.
なんだって。
Mion noticed her back was wet and cold. She finally understood that the underclassmen she was attacking just earlier had shown their fangs and attacked her from behind. I blocked her water shot with my arm. Right before it hit my chest. The line of water was broken into droplets and splattered away.
そうだったか。被弾者の攻撃は被弾しても向こうだ。
そいつに気づくのだいぶ遅かったぜ。伏せろミオン。
Mion squatted down and covered her head. Now it was me versus Tomita-kun and Okamura-kun. Their reflexes weren't so bad. They knew well that I'd be their next target after Mion was gone. They didn't feel sorry at all for attacking me right after I just saved them from their predicament. I can respect their cruelty and how quickly they shifted gears. They may one day be able to join our club if they keep refining their sense and skill.
次は前原さんだ。このまま撃ち殺すんだ。こっちは2人だもんね。負けるわけがない。
They were, however, one step behind me. It was already too late. For them, Mion was their first target, and I was next. But I was different. My first target was them from the start. I didn't even see Mion as my target to begin with, because I knew they'd take care of her. I was pointing my guns at them long before they moved their sights from Mion to me. It seemed like they noticed at the last moment that both of my guns had been pointing at them from the beginning. Which meant it was already too late for them. Is that Keiichi yelling again? I jumped over Mion, rolled on the ground, and landed on my feet. I looked as elegant as an athlete who had just finished a perfect performance. I had a gun in each of my hands. And with those guns, I shot them each in the middle of their chests.
早すぎる。もう僕たちが2人がかりで負けるなんて。
You'll think before the next time you cross Keiichi Maibara. Tomita-kun and Okamura-kun fell to their knees in disappointment.
ケイちゃんがこれだけのことをやって抜けるなんて。私も鈍ったってことかな。
Mion wiped the dirt off her knees, looking frustrated.
別にミオンは鈍っちゃいなかったの。
じゃあなんでおじさんが負けたわけよ。
そんなの決まってるじゃないか。
I trailed my guns in the tips of my fingers.
たまには勝たねえと格好がつかねえからだよ。